Searchers estimated that it would be mathematically and physically impossible for the 2-year-old in little overalls, right, cute little kid, to navigate that distance on foot through rugged, snow-covered terrain. They found him on the top of a mountain. Like, it's pretty rugged out there.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to As the Skeleton Key Turns, the podcast where we explore haunted locations, paranormal investigations, forgotten history, and the stories that refuse to stay buried. I'm Gray, of course, joined always by Christina.
Hello.
Grab your flashlight, lock your doors, and let's turn the skeleton key. Today's episode is going to be one of something that is a little different. It's still considered spooky, right? But it's spooky on a level that I think it hits closer to home than most. Because it's very attainable. Not to say you don't want to attain this, that's going to happen, but it is something that does happen every day, unfortunately.
Maybe put in a little trigger warning.
Yeah, so trigger warning, it does involve missing persons. So if you or a family member have any missing person, please make sure you contact your local your local police investigation stations as well. So that way, just in case, God forbid, someone does go missing, hope they return safely. Seriously, it's actually hope they return safely. So yeah, so that is the trigger warning for today. We don't have a safe word.
No
we don't believe in that here.
No, we don't.
Safe word. So you always see call blah 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 before you dig. Today is call 411 before you snoop. So today is the 411 missing case files. Of course, this whole thing, and I'm going to let Christine explain this because it's actually quite interesting. And I didn't realize that a detective had done this. I had always kind of, always seen, what is that, missing person? Have you seen Unsolved Mysteries? That's what it was. It's like, have you seen this person? Da, 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 then call blah, 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 blah.
Right.
So this is the 411 missing case person. Now, of course, this was voted on by our listeners.
It was.
So, yes. So thank you all for engaging. Thank you all for actually taking the time and voting on something. This is what we want to see. We want to see engagement. We love it. So yeah, so this episode is because of you all. So emotionally supported by our listeners, but still, please don't forget to click our links, but we'll talk about that later. Anyways, so I'm going to kick it off with Christina heading us on the trail today. So that way, as the door opens, it'll be a very, very, very fun ride. So what do you got for us?
So I also wasn't super well versed in what the missing 411 was. I know I've seen some shows about missing people and things like that, but I didn't know it was like a thing. So when it was suggested and we went with it, that was fantastic because I'm always looking to learn new stuff. So what is the missing 411? So actually, it was a series of books and documentaries that were created by a former police officer named David Paulides. I hope I'm saying his name right. He investigated hundreds of unexplained disappearances in wilderness areas across North America. Beginning in 2012, he argued that many of these cases share unusual similarities that cannot easily be explained, which is why we're doing it on this podcast. He never identified one definitive cause, but instead highlighted recurring patterns that he believes deserve further investigation, and I agree. Many researchers, search and rescue professionals, and skeptics disagree with his conclusions, arguing that many of the disappearances can be explained by accidents, environmental conditions, wildlife, or investigative limitations. While the disappearances themselves are real, The idea that they are connected by a single mystery remains extremely controversial. So, the main thread between all of these disappearances, I mean, there's all ages, all sexes, all everything, right? But the main thread is that the majority of these disappearances happened in national parks like Smoky Mountains National Park. There's a couple parks out west. Like, so we're going to talk about some of the individual cases, but definitely they all have that common thread. Another pattern is that the victims often disappeared within minutes. So, like, people would be doing something and they turn around and the person is gone, like vanished,
Oh,
vanished. A,
so just
gone.
boop.
Yep, just gone. So a lot of these people were experienced hikers, hunters, people who've been in the backwoods and all that, and they vanished in familiar terrain. So they were familiar with the areas that they were in and that they vanished in, which is kind of crazy. Um spoiler, not spoiler, but trigger. Some of the children disappeared without a trace, like young kids. Clothing and shoes were often found separated from where they found the victims. And bodies are sometimes located in areas that had already been searched and had no findings. Kind of like they were dropped there after the fact. That's my thoughts, anyways.
Oof.
Sudden weather changes often interrupt search efforts. So all these people gather around, of course, especially when there's a person missing from the community or a child. Everyone gets together. There's been several cases here in my area that the Amber Alert or just the missing person thing comes up and like droves of people show up to help. So that's amazing. Sorry that they had to do that, but it's amazing how people kind of join together to do that. But these people would search the area and there would be no evidence, they wouldn't find anything, and then the victims would be found in the same areas that were already searched. Tracking dogs lose the scent or refuse to even track. So they like that's what those dogs do, and they are not doing their job. Like they're like, nope, nope. Little or no physical evidence is recovered. And there are some survivors in this. They report missing time, strange sounds, or a feeling of being watched that they cannot explain. And many disappearances occur near water, granite boulder fields, caves, or dense forests. So that's kind of like backwoods terrain there. But I don't know.
Oh yeah.
What are your thoughts on the similarities of it?
I I mean, here's the thing, right? So the disappearing without a trace, right? And you're in national parks.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of these national parks are older than time themselves.
Right.
So I I can only imagine, like, if someone goes missing and then you have a lapse of time that you don't remember. Like, that's gotta be something fucking paranormal. Not just paranormal, that's gotta be something just wicked wild. At that point, it's like, oh, I went missing. It's like, oh, you went missing for like 6 months, honey, and now you're home. Welcome
Right.
home.
Right. Like that's
Huh?
just I can't even imagine.
And the poor children. Seriously, and my heart actually does go out. And I know it doesn't sound like I'm very sympathetic, but I am. The poor kids. Like I couldn't be a parent and be playing with my kid in a national park or going on a hike, and all of a sudden I turn around for like a split second to like grab something for the child, and all of a sudden You just see the outline. It's like an outline of a kid was there, and you're like, you were just here.
Right.
The fuck you go.
Right.
I didn't even hear you move.
Yep.
But yeah, no. So yeah, that's crazy. And so like, so speaking of the lapse of time and stuff, I I have one of our first cases of 411, and it actually deals with lapse time, and it's very odd how it kind of plays out. So this is Stephen Kubaki. Now he's part of the missing 411 case, right? In February of 1977, the 24-year-old man, of course Stephen Kubaki, was a cross-country skier through the snows of Lake. Was doing cross-country skiing through the snows of Lake Michigan. Once he reached the edge of the lake, he took his skis off, sat down, and rested. When he got up to leave, his own tracks were gone,
What?
and he became lost. Now, this is very real, folks, for the simple fact it's snow. You
Right.
know, do we truly know if it was still snowing while he was skiing? Probably. It's wintertime, the snow's still building up. Of course, you're going to lose your tracks. That's one thing about skiers. Like, if you all go skiing and it's still snowing, make sure you have some type of marker to like mark your path because you're going to get fucked up. But anyhow,
Yeah.
moving on. So the last thing he remembered was walking through the snow, feeling numb and exhausted, and he blacked out. In the blink of an eye, it was springtime. He was laying in a grassy field in the middle of a forest, wearing clothes that weren't his.
What?
Sitting next to him was a stranger's backpack containing running shoes, glasses, and other clothing that did not belong to him. According to records, he had hiked to the nearest town, asked a local resident where he was. They told him he was in Pittsfield, Massachusetts, 700 miles away from where he had been skiing.
How?
His aunt and father lived. Yeah, that's what. Hang on. Yeah, no, this is the weird part, right? So his aunt and father lived in Pittsfield. So they went and picked him up. So he knocked on his aunt's door. His family was in shock, hugging him, asking where he had been. Kubecki had been missing for 14 months. So 1 year and 2 months this man had been missing since the accident.
What?
Okay. Remember, it was snowing. His tracks were covered. He got confused. He got lost, rightfully so.
Sure.
But what I want to know is the blink of time,
Right. Like,
how the records, yeah, make that make sense.
how?
Make that make sense. But anyways, yeah. So when Quebec had first gone missing, of course, the search team had found his poles, his ski gear, and everything at the edge of the lake, exactly where he had remembered taking it off at. However, there was only one set of footprints leading towards the water, but none walking away. They had assumed that he had drowned himself in the freezing lake. Since he had been missing for so long, everyone assumed that he was dead. Of course, you're going to assume the dude's dead.
Right.
He's fucking. Let me just take my gear off. Doop, 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 doop.
Right. Like,
You're dead.
yeah.
Anyways,
The water's
so
cold.
the official explanation, right, is the doctor said he had amnesia because of a fatigued state. But however, doctors were baffled in the case because it's incredibly rare for someone to lose such a large chunk of their memory in a fatigued state. So essentially, the doctor's saying he was so tired, his body shut down, and his mind went with it. So he just doesn't remember doing anything. But if that's the case for 14 fucking months, the dude should have already been fucking dead. What was he doing? Fighting grizzly bears and black bears and shit in the fucking mountains? Say, oh, hey, I'm in Pittsfield, guys. Merry Christmas. Da 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 da. Anyway, so Kubecki doesn't remember anything. He remembered the only thing he remembers and he gives to police was that he took his shoes off, or he took his skis off, laid him in the snow, laid his pole down to rest. He said that's all he remembers. He doesn't remember walking down to the water. He doesn't remember hiking over 700 miles to Pittsfield because he said he had blisters on his feet. His feet were swollen. They were wet. They were, his
Sure.
legs were incredibly tired. They were eaten up with mites and ticks, and he had scratches all
Ooh.
over him. But he doesn't remember a thing. However, the one thing he does remember is that he was a linguistics master. He had a master's degree in linguistics, and he could still remember every language that he learned, but he can't remember 14 months of time.
Hmm.
So that's one case
Mm.
that just that deals with a time skip. Because here's the thing. He's not even in, I don't think he's even in the Appalachia at this point. He's not
Mm-mm.
even in the Appalachia. He's
No.
just fucking near Lake Michigan, and he ends up in Pittsfield, Massachusetts. Buddy, that is two stark different places.
Right. Like, I mean, the wounds and stuff would be definite evidence of something like that happening, but I mean, did he eat? Did he drink? Like, I don't
The
know. It
reports
was
don't
cold.
exactly say. There is some saying that he did get some sustenance along the way, that he doesn't know how he got it, but he just remembers feeling very sick,
Mm,
and that's pretty much it. So I'm assuming he's eating berries, nuts that have fallen on the ground. He's probably eating things he shouldn't. He's probably eating leaves, drinking from the streams,
right.
lakes. Who knows?
Wow.
But it doesn't sound like he went in. He wasn't a survivalist, right? He wasn't an adventurer of any kind other than, this little ski thing. So for him to go missing for 14 months, look at, tracks that go into the water of Lake Michigan or near Lake Michigan, wherever this body of water was, and for then him to just reappear 14 months later and just be like, I don't remember, but I'm here.
Hmm. Very
So yeah, so that's
interesting.
one case.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Um, I have one from a little guy. So
Oh,
him and his family were camping in the Spencefield area of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park in Tennessee on
okay.
June 14th, 1969. He was 6 years old and his name was Dennis Martin. And they were camping. It was an annual Father's Day trip that they would take. So he was with his father, his brother, his grandfather, and they were all playing like hide and seek, where the kids would hide and then jump out and try to scare their grandfather and father. So Dennis hid behind a tree and he was never seen again.
Oh,
That quick. That quick.
yeah.
Um so a lot of people came out to search for this kid. Obviously, like I mentioned before, 1,400 people came in 1969 to search for this child. And the military was brought in, the FBI, Green Berets, park rangers, like all kinds of people were there because this was a crazy situation. And they couldn't find anything. And like in many of these cases, like severe and sudden weather changes happened right after the boy
Hmm.
disappeared, and they just couldn't track him. They couldn't find him. Now, it was said by a separate family that they did report hearing a sudden scream and then witnessing a very rough looking man running away through the brush with something draped over his shoulder. So some people think that that could have been the person responsible for the abduction, but um yeah, the only thing they found was one shoe and one sock that was reportedly found, and he was never found, and the case still remains open to this day with the FBI and the park. You can review the redacted investigative documents provided by the National Park Service. But yeah, unfortunately, he was never found. I mean, how, if they were all together, right? They're all playing. There was adults there. It's not like they were by themselves off wandering, whatever. Um, how? How? And they didn't hear anything. Like, I don't know, if this guy truly was the one who went and took him, like, you would have heard that. The parents would have heard that. They were
Right.
right there. So I don't know. It's just crazy. It's sad. Just
Hmm.
crazy. Mm,
That is very, very odd. Yeah, I'm reading here. Yeah, just nothing, you know, nothing.
right. Nothing at
Dogs cut
all.
and finding,
Nope.
never found a body.
Nope.
Well, now, okay, so I have another case. So this one, right, could technically be in the detective's book, but it's not. So it's a local to my area.
Mm-hmm.
It's a local case of 411. And when I say it's fresh within the past 2 days.
What?
No, I'm not fucking kidding you. So, as you and I were talking about, the 411 and stuff, and kind of conversating back and forth and learn a little bit more about it, we actually had a local, version of this of 411 missing persons. So, a family is out at a local swimming spot. I'm not going to say where because that would give out too much. Of course, there is public record right now
Sure.
of the case, but I still want to be very,
It's a
it's still
sensitive
very
situation.
sensitive.
Yeah, exactly. It's sensitive. So,
Yes. So family was out with, a bunch of people. They were out swimming, and all of a sudden, and it's not very deep water, and it's not very fast water. Okay, not at all. There's no heavy undertow this particular day that we know of. I mean, if you check the currents at the time, there was no heavy undertow. There was no rushing water. Nothing could have prepared, right? Nothing was prepared. I guess you could say for Mother Nature to be like, hey, no. But so family swimming, they're all having a great time. Majority of the family gets out of the water. One person who is of an adult age is known to be a very strong swimmer,
mm-hmm.
super strong, super great. They grew up in these mountains. They know what the cautionary tales are of these mountains. And literally, the family was fixing lunch. They turned their back on the person for literally a split second to grab them a drink because they were going to come out of the river, the swimming hole, river, lake, whatever you want to call it. They were going to come out. And as they turned their back, they don't hear a thing. They don't hear anyone get out. And they turn around. They're like, "Oh, hey, here's your," and they're gone.
What?
Now, remember, this is a strong swimmer, young adult, you know, very healthy young adult. Okay, so grew up in these mountains, knows the cautionary tales of it, knows what to be cautious of and for,
Right.
and they just vanish. Now, this comes across the local scanner. All departments, please be advised we have a missing person in this area at this time. All units, please respond. So, 4 different units from my local area responded, including 2 units up north responded. because of this location. And literally for 2 days, nothing. People are searching high and low and near the swim spot. The dogs, the dive team, nobody can find a thing. Then 2 days later, now it's public knowledge, right? Of course, the names are still redacted, and the victim, unfortunately, is still redacted. But 2 days later, a DHA, or not DHA, DEA agent is out hunting, right? Just hunting in the mountains, off clock, not thinking of anything, and stumbles up on a bloated, like he said it looked like a bloated piece of cow, is what it looked like. And he went up and discovered it was a human body.
Oh, God.
It was the missing person. So they found the missing person today. So when I say recent, I mean like local, like just happened. And yeah, so it's crazy because the reports that were released to the public show the local agencies that were working with everyone, hey, we found nothing. Like there's no clothing, there's no swimming gear, there's no sign of this person. Like we couldn't find this person. They were found 5 miles down from the swimming hole on the shoreline by a DEA agent who was just hunting.
Wow.
So, I mean, this is, and so now keep in mind, this takes place in, this particular thing happens in the Appalachian Mountains. They're old mountains.
Right.
So this one is being investigated very heavily because now they say there's no sign of foul play. They said there's no, people have been interviewed. It truly was a missing persons case, and it just sucks, but still, it's still being heavily investigated because they want to make sure all possibilities of anything bad is not coming into play here, because this person was very well loved by the community, very well adored, very well known. They had a lot of friends. So it's just, everyone's speculating on who it was because the name hasn't been released yet. But there are a few people in the local area who do think they know who it is, and there are a few people who think they know who it is. And then there's those it's like, no, it can't be this person. But like, we haven't heard from this person for 3 days now. So day of the swim, 2 days missing, day of the find. So 4 days, give or take. But still, regardless, it's nuts. It's I mean, literally, it's the case of turn around, blink and you miss it.
Right.
Literally, just blink and you miss it, and that's kind of what happened to this poor person. And so I will send you the exact like post that is official, but then there's the unofficial where I had to kind of dig a little bit after I saw the post, and I did my little FBI investigation, my own little
find out
investigation. Yeah. Find out a couple things, figure out what exactly is going on, because it was a Facebook post, so we have to take it to a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my local 411 missing person, which is fucking nuts.
That's crazy.
Right? Like,
that's crazy. And I'm sorry
the
for
fuck,
their family and whatever, because that's raw and fresh and
yeah, so the family, I haven't seen the family around. Because it, being that it's local, I haven't seen the family around. I haven't seen any of the family's friends. I haven't talked to any of the family's friends. So I'm letting it, rest and do its thing. I'm sure there will be some type of privatized funeral, and everything. But here's the freaky thing about that, right? Okay. Here's the tricky thing. When the post was released, I hadn't read it yet exactly, like the official post that was released by my local government, my local agencies.
Hmm.
But I did see where I live, I did see an EMS ambulance transport a decedent to the local funeral home.
Huh.
The time and correlation match up.
Hmm.
A little freaky,
That is
little,
freaky.
little freaky. So, but yeah, so that's my that's another one that's not even in the
Wow.
book, but it's
Wow.
still a 411.
I've got
Um,
one more that I kind of,
what do you got?
yeah. So on April 10th, 1952, 2-year-old Keith Parkins. Now remember, in 1952, things were a little different. Okay, we would never just leave our kids alone, right? Now, but then
Right.
things were different.
Yeah,
So,
you leave your kids alone all the time.
right. So, 1952. 2-year-old Keith Parkins was visiting his grandparents' cattle ranch near Ritter, Oregon. And around noon, Keith and his two older brothers went out to the barn to look at a newborn calf. His brothers headed back to the house for lunch, and they left the kid behind at the barn. The mom realized,
Oh,
hey, kid's not with the brothers. She went to the barn, searched for the barn, couldn't find anything. Kid was gone, completely gone.
ooh,
So, a massive search party, of course, consisting of dozens of local volunteers, immediately began combing the area. 19 hours later, at 6:45 a.m. the following day, searchers found Keith, 2-year-old little Keith, lying face down in a patch of snow on Bald Point. He was
oh,
hypothermic and unconscious, but he was alive. And they flew him to Pendleton, Oregon, and he made a full recovery. So here's the weird parts. Like, so glad he survived, right? He was
yes.
found 8 to 12 miles away from his grandparents' home. Okay? 8 to 12 miles. 2 years old. He's 2. Searchers estimated that it would be mathematically and physically impossible for the 2-year-old in little overalls, right? Cute little kid, to
Yeah.
navigate that distance on foot through rugged,
Y-
snow covered terrain. They found
Oh,
him on the top of a mountain. Like, it's pretty rugged out there. Um, Keith had no memory of the 19 hours. Nothing. He doesn't remember anything. The only detail that he ever mentioned was that a cat had scratched him. That's the only thing he remembers. So experienced outdoorsmen and investigators later attempted to replicate the journey that the 2-year-old made and couldn't do it in 19 hours. It was like he was picked up and dropped somewhere. Like, it's not possible. So it's bizarre timing, extreme distance, of course, again, harsh weather conditions, right? We said that that's like a thing, the harsh weather conditions.
yep.
Um, a lot of people debate that he was carried away by an animal, a person, or something else. So, but yeah, he lived, and they still don't have answers because he doesn't remember anything. Crazy,
That is crazy.
crazy. Absolutely
19
crazy.
hours, a 2-year-old.
And minor injuries. Like, he was hypothermic, yes, of course, but he just little scratches, nothing else. Yeah. So, like, how do we explain that? How are these people missing like that? Like, what are your thoughts?
That I don't. I can't calculate them because the only thing I could think of is I don't get it because like okay, so like skipping time, fine. 2 year old, it's a 2 year old, right?
Right.
Conscious isn't fully there,
Right.
but it's there enough to realize and analyze the situation,
At that time.
kind of
Yeah, at that time.
at that
Right.
time. Yeah, that's just odd
Right.
because like the fuck, like I genuinely want to because here's the thing, right? So if you have an experienced outdoors person, right,
Mm-hmm.
trying to replicate something a 2 year old did.
Right.
Now, were there any reports like before I say the rest, were there any reports like they saw any tracks? Did the rescue team see anything that would be considered not unusual, but like normal for someone to take a hike like that? Like, were they thinking of the obvious, or were they just like focused on we have a missing 2 year old? Holy shit, let's go.
They did find some footprints. When they were searching for him, they did find a set of small footprints roughly 3 miles away from the barn where he was last seen. The size and tread of the shoes were consistent with the kid. Um,
Okay.
and the track showed that he did not travel in a straight line. He went off one way and then the other way. So, yeah. It
Huh.
says, what
Uh,
does it say? Some historical accounts note that tracks appear to weave directly through a herd of cattle.
uh, so the kid's essentially running, and you just see it's like literally the tracks tell the story of
For 12
ooh
miles,
cow.
though, I mean, I know kids have a lot of energy,
I,
but it was cold. Like 12 miles running? Weird. It's so weird.
that is very odd.
I
I
mean,
mean,
that part right there makes it very, I don't know. My whole thought on it was like, all right, maybe they were abducted by UFO or alien or something, or maybe they stepped into a time rift or something like, and that's why they haven't been found. But this kid, they found his tracks, but they didn't find the tracks until 3 miles away. So from point A to 3 miles away, what happened and how did he get that far away being as little as he was?
so he says he remembers a cat scratch. Are we
Mm-hmm.
sure as a cat? Are we sure like maybe a bird? Like I know this is right. I know eagles and
They're
there are
out
giant
there.
birds
Yeah.
still.
Yep.
They're out there, people. So like, don't think that a fucking eagle can't pick up your little 1 year old bundle of
Oh, for
joy
sure.
because they absolutely fucking can.
They could.
let's yeah,
But
let's be real here.
this is what they are saying about that. Um he would have weighed about 25 to 30 pounds at the time,
Okay,
and the native prey, sorry, the birds of prey native to Oregon are the golden eagle and the bald eagle. So they're saying that even the healthiest eagle can only pick up their own body weight of about 10 to 12 pounds for a short distance. So now, if he was
so
a
three
skinny little
miles,
thing, right? If he was skinny,
right?
okay, maybe. But they're saying the average maximum, like that they would be able to fly with a distance would be about 4 to 5 pounds. And he had
Okay,
no trauma. Like he had no talon marks or puncture wounds or lacerations, nothing. Just unconscious and cold, pretty much.
what the fuck?
So the cat,
Okay,
the
hmm
cat, there are, I mean, in that area, there are mountain lions and cougars, right? So
yeah.
they're saying that maybe the cougar could have drug him or interacted with him. But he would have ate them. Like, not to be
Yeah,
morbid, but
instantly.
I mean, we're, where we are right now, right? We're on
Yeah,
As a Skeleton Key Turns
yeah,
podcast. And he would have ate them.
yeah. He absolutely, like, a mountain lion or a cougar or a coyote would absolutely would have eviscerated a 2-year-old.
Absolutely.
Defenseless.
Right.
It's looked at as prey. I'm not saying a child is an it, but said child is looked at as prey. It's
Right.
like, oh, that looks like a good toasted stuffed ravioli. Nom, 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 nom,
Yeah,
nom, nom.
exactly. That's
The-
exactly what they would have
it-
done.
but I just see that one's Kubrick. Fine, Kubrick. Whatever. Maybe he did have amnesia,
Sure.
right? Maybe he just, Kubrick. Fine, 700 miles. He's a full-grown adult.
Right.
Absolutely,
Right.
sure. 2-year-old.
Right. That's why I was like, we have to talk about this kid because it's crazy. How?
I, for any 2-year-olds that are listening, if your parents let you listen to our show, could you, in words of your own whatever, could you explain to us how this would be done? Because I'm lost. And I know doctors and investigators are lost too, because they're probably like, this kid should have been dead. For
Right.
all intents and purposes, this kid should have been
Done.
like
And
nothing.
thank goodness that's
Unzo.
not what happened, But
Right.
did you hear
I
about this story? See, I don't know. There's so many theories. I can't put my finger on it. But did you hear about this story back in 2019 where the kid was playing and he ran off into the woods? I think it was in North Carolina. And like he said, a bear took care of him for like 2 days or something.
I did
Do you
hear
remember
about
that?
that. Yes. Yeah.
Maybe it was a
I mean,
Sasquatch in that case. But
this could be a case of the Jungle Book, American version.
maybe.
Instead of the Jungle Book, it'd be called the Freedom Book. Well,
In the good stories
debatable.
though, the bad stories, I don't know.
Yeah, the bad stories, it's the Jungle Book and Mowgli has rabies, and well, here we are. But, you know, it's, that is one case that throws me for a loop, in all honesty. That is nuts.
And
Wow.
he can't tell you
Well,
anything about it. So, yeah.
oh, that's crazy. That's a tale he's telling as, he got older and stuff. And like, that's something he spun to his grandkids and his kids. And he's like, I remember back in 19 da 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 da.
Right?
I went missing and now here I am.
Wow, it's just crazy.
Dude, I would love to have met him. Like, as he got older and stuff, became an elderly person, but like, dude, tell me the story again of how you went missing
Right?
for 19 hours and then they just found you just eating snow, cold, but you're snowbound right there, face planted in the snow.
Mm.
Like, just tell me that because I want to know. Fuck. Um, but wow. Well, okay. This has been an interesting story episode. So this has been great. I'm gonna be thinking on that one actually after the episode too. I'm just gonna be like, I'm gonna sit there try to do the math. I'm gonna do the math. I'm gonna do the research. I'm just gonna be like, damn it.
I want
So,
to hear
but
everybody's
yes.
theories though. Like, if you have a theory or a
Oh
thought,
yeah.
please tell me because I'm honestly, I don't even like this particular story like blew my theories out of the water, so I don't know.
Yeah. That was yeah. Yeah. This is definitely. Anyways, thank you all for joining us. Of course. For another episode of As the Skip.
Yep.
Words. Hard. Yes. Thank you again for joining us for another episode of As the Skeleton Key Turns. Of course, you can follow us on our social medias, which will be Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and of course, we're on Spotify because that's how you're listening to us.
And Instagram.
We do appreciate you all giving us feedback on the poll. We might do another one because at this point in time, at least we know what you all want to hear, and that's the thing. Like, we went into this blind, what, 13 episodes ago, 14 episodes ago?
13. Yep. This is
Like
13.
13. Yeah. So 12 episodes ago, we went into this blind, not knowing what we're doing. And we're still learning,
Every day.
by the way, every day. Yeah. Okay. So just lay off our case. But we love doing what we're doing. It's definitely, it's something that I think we had always tossed around in our mind, and because we had a ghost explored together, we had we've talked paranormal shit together,
Oh, yeah.
and of course, Christina's like, I want to do a podcast, and I'm like, bitch, I did one like a long time ago. I remember, but I want to do something now. I'm like, okay. So this is round 2 for me. But I love it. I love doing this. I love that you all are tuning in and listening, and I'm sure Christina shares my joy.
Yes.
But yes, so follow us on all our social medias. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Please, please, please make sure you check out Christina's amazing, her and her business partners shop, Moonlight. What was it? I didn't have it pulled up. Wow, I'm a terrible.
www.mysticalmoonlitpaths.com. And we also just opened on Etsy. So whichever one.
Yeah, so go check that out. Make sure to, if you are going to go ghost hunting and you need some equipment, don't forget to use our affiliates. So that way it does support us. It supports us. Of course, it supports them. And if at any point in time you have a wild, crazy story or a no sleep story where like it's just pure horror and you want us to read it, send it in. Like I would love to just read a true no sleep. Like, oh, I would love something just bone chilling, terrifying. And I'll read it. I'll sight read that bitch. I won't even read it beforehand. All you have to do is label scary story.
Right?
And I'll sight read that. And I swear to God, if it turns out with something with some fucking brain rot coming after your toes, I'm sending the Babadook after you. The Babadook is real. Okay? Or I'm sending Goatman. I'm sending you to Goatman Bridge.
Ooh.
And you're going to spend the night with Goatman. He's not nice.
No, he's not.
But he's angry all the time. Poor Goatman.
Yes.
But also, don't forget, we have the West Virginia Asylum coming up. It is becoming spooky season now. So with that being said, spooky season is literally like it's kicking off. So all the tickets are going to go on sale. Of course, me and Christina, we're going to be planning things in the future. Who knows if anything will happen this year? We do hope to meet back up and do some type of investigation and stuff like that together. And if we do that, we will, of course, will announce it on YouTube and our other socials for you to actually come out and meet us if you have the time, money, and availability. Then absolutely, I would love for you to come out and explore with us, kind of be a one-on-one. Also, if you would like to be a guest on the show, please email us directly. We post our email on our socials, so that's how you can reach out to us. If you have a serious story, you want a guest star or anything like that, if you want to, come on the show, we'd love to have you because, more the spookier, the more the merrier. So, but yes, yet again, thank you again for listening to us, A Skeleton Key Turns. Of course, I am always your intrigued host, Cray, and always joined by the lovely Christina. Bye-bye.